Lisbeth Perez is back at home now, after 2 months in Nicaragua's most feared prison, El Chipote. She's one of hundreds of people imprisoned in a year of protests against President Daniel Ortega. Of those, more than 200 remain in jail, where Lisbeth says the conditions are frightening.
No one who's been in El Chipote hasn't been humiliated, mistreated, beaten, degraded. Look, those are the dangerous ones, the guerrillas, they say. Girls of 14, a mother imprisoned with her child, elderly people of 80 years old, all completely illegal.
She still wears her jail uniform, like many of the ex-prisoners. It's to protest that they're still being watched. Many are only out provisionally, awaiting a resolution to their case.
Every time I go out into the street, there's the same motorbike with the same man or woman looking at us, the prisoners. The neighborhood Sandinista council spy on me and they take photos of me.
Other prisoners told us similar stories. Student YARITZA ROSTRAN, jailed for 7 months and now under house arrest, accuses the government of using them as pawns in negotiation with the opposition.
Definitely we're a bargaining chip. The regime kidnapped us precisely so they could have hostages to negotiate. And those that have been released are a break on international pressure. The regime uses that to deter any sanctions.
And there are still a couple of hundred people in prison. The government's agreed to release them by mid-June. But Daniel ESQUIVEL fears that agreement will count for little. His wife, Ilanda, was jailed after leading protests in the market she worked at. She's still in prison and has lost 20 kilos.
These people could be free at any moment, but we don't feel that there is the willingness to release them.
Meanwhile, local human rights groups report that people continue to be detained. All of these arrests have inevitably led to a climate of fear in Nicaragua. Just a year ago, this avenue was full of people protesting, but you just wouldn't see that now, mainly because the government's passed a law basically banning demonstrations. Just by heading out onto the streets, you risk getting locked up. For those still in jail, and even those let out but still under the government's watchful eye, it means a life in limbo, inextricably tied to the country's political future. John Holman, Al Jazeera, Managua.